Okay, here's another question that has write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line described. Again, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We do have a situation where it has to go through this point. Well, we can always consider this point our x1, y1, and it has to be perpendicular to this equation. If you recall, well, first of all, our m is always next to the x. So this is a slope that we have right now, but perpendicular means that we need to find our opposite reciprocal slope. Again, opposite meaning change the sign, right? And then reciprocal meaning flip the fraction. So if I have this slope right here, and my slope happens to be 1/5, then my perpendicular slope, this means perpendicular, a little symbol for perpendicular, means that I need to change the sign, right? That's the opposite, so it becomes negative. And I need to flip the fraction, so that becomes 5/1. So the slope that we're going to use, if we simplify this, we can make this over 1 invisible and just call it -5. So that's the slope that we're going to use. From 1/5, we change it to -5. And we have this point, so again, whenever we have that, we can use our formula y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. What do we call this again? This is the what? The point slope formula. Okay, and the reason why it's a point slope formula is because if you have a point, which is, we do have a point, right? This point right here. Then, and if we have a slope, well, we do have a slope. We have this slope right here. Then we can use this formula. We substitute it here, we substitute here, and we substitute there. Okay? We end up with y minus -5 equals -5 times x minus 2. Again, we substitute it here, here, and here. Okay? We replace those numbers with the numbers that were right there. Again, if we have double signs, let's get rid of that. Minus negative becomes plus. And now we can do our PEMDAS. We're going to do our left or our right. We're just going to simplify each one separately, following our PEMDAS, right? We call that doing. We do the math. Okay? So when you do the math, you have to follow PEMDAS. We take care of everything inside the parentheses. Everything's okay. We take care of any exponents. We multiply and divide, so now we can multiply that -5, and we use our distributive property. Negative times positive is -5x. -5 times -2 becomes +10. Bring this guy down. And we've simplified the right side. There's nothing else to simplify. We are ready to solve for y, or undo the y. In other words, I have a +5 attached to the y. When you undo, you follow PEMDAS this way. In other words, you got to do all the adding and subtracting first. So we're coming over here and we say, okay, we got to do the +5 first. The inverse of +5, or the opposite of +5, is subtract 5. Correct? I'm going to give a different color here so you don't get too confused. I cannot put it under this 5x because that's a different family, but I could put it under the 10 because they're both constant terms. Those are like terms. Here it becomes 0, bring down the y, we're going to bring down our 5x, and +10 minus 5 would give me +5. Remember when you're adding and subtracting, You got to make sure that if they're opposite signs, you subtract. And I've got more positives than negatives, so I ended up with this here.